ay narito, tapat sa aming serbisyo. Walang problemang di malalampasan. Magliliwanag ang ating kinabukasan. Dance Radio, silid-aralan sa radyo. Hatid namin makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo. Kahit saan at kahit kailan, hindi ka iiwanan. Hatid namin bagong kaalaman. Edukasyo'y susulong, basta't magtulong-tulong. Sulong edukalidad, Dance Radio. Learning is amazing.
Ito ang 106.3 Dance Radio. Dance Radio.
Prepare yourself.
Ang silid-aralan sa radyo, hatid namin ay makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo at kalaman. Mapaumaga, tanghali o hapon man yan, ang istasyong magbibigay impormasyon kahit saan man.
For something big.
Alright, here we go.
106.3 Dance Radio. Doña Aurora National High School, Santa Rita, Aurora, Isabela.
This
106.3 DWDR-FM. Physics, Chemistry, Earth Science, Biology, Biochemistry, Environmental Science. These are some branches of science. Science is about a whole lot more than that. And to sum it up, we believe that science is the way of helping the brain grow in finding new knowledge and help us defeat our curiosity and how the world develops and works today. Science. This is your class, and this is science. And now, here is your host for the day.
Hello! Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon to all our viewers, especially to our grade 10 learners. Magandang hapon sa inyo mga anak. At syempre, binabati ko rin ang ating officer in charge, si Sir Rod Pasqua. Sa lahat ng mga head teachers, sa lahat ng mga teachers naka-work from home or nandito sa school, magandang hapon sa ating lahat. So ngayon, isa na namang makabuluhang tatalakayin ang ihahatid sa inyo ng inyong mga science teacher sa pamamagitan ng ating scientific time. At syempre, ihahatid sa inyo ng ating istasyon 106.3 FM Dance Radio, where learning is amazing. So my dear learners, para sa inyo ang oras na ito. At sana samahan niyo kami hanggang matapos ang ating episode. So, ngayong hapon ay makakasama ko si Ma'am Marisa Marsan at Ma'am Teresa Seneca para sa live discussion. So, ano pa ang ating hinihintay? So, ating pakinggan ang ating RBI. Magbabalik kami!
Wala nang makakapigil pa. Sulong Arangkada 106.3 Dance Radio sa Aurora, Isabela.
Edukasyon
facts, and information. Today's learning for new normal. With capable teachers whose heart and souls are defined. Deliver knowledge inside your home through radio. This is the WDR-FM 106.3 Dance Radio, a community FM radio station of Doña Aurora National High School, Santa Rita, Aurora Isabela. This is the WDR-FM 106.3 Dance Radio, fully dedicated to serve the public in tribute to education. With the use of radio-based instructions, we are pleased to deliver the utmost aim of education through distance learning approach. With subjects like English, Science, Math, Filipino, Araling Palipunan, TLE, MAPE, and ESP. This is the WDR-FM 106.3 Dance Radio is now ready to serve you right inside your home. This is the WDR-FM 106.3 Dance Radio, your school on the air.
Physics, chemistry, earth science, biology, biochemistry, environmental science. These are some branches of science. Science is about a whole lot more than that. And to sum it up, we believe that science is a way of helping the brain grow in finding new knowledge and help us defeat our curiosity of how the world develops and works today. Science, science, science. This is your class, and this is science. And now, here is your host for the day.
Good day, our dear listeners, especially the grade 10 learners. This is your school on the air, and it's Science Time! And I am happy to be with you. I am your host for today, Teacher Rufino R. Pomeda Jr. from Doña Aurora National High School. With me is Teacher Riza N. Marzan, our technical specialist. Are you now ready for today's lesson? For any concerns and queries regarding our topic, feel free to text or call 0916-478-0363. I repeat, 0916-478-0363, or email us at teresa.seneca001@deped.gov.ph. This time, I turn you over to our radio teacher in science.
Good day, grade 10 learners, and also those who are listening right now. I am Rio Faye Magaway, your radio teacher for today's lesson. I hope everybody has tuned in and are now ready to listen and learn to our lesson for today. Make sure that you are in a comfortable place and free from disturbances so that you can concentrate and able to understand the lesson. Before we start, be sure you have your module with you together with your pen, paper, and notebook for you to take down notes as we go on in our discussion. Don't forget to write your name, section, and the date. Bring out your Module 3 in Science 10. Please take time in reading the lessons in the module. In doing the activities, you should read and follow the directions or instructions carefully. And most especially, answer honestly all the activities. Today's lesson is about processes and landforms along plate boundaries. After going through this module, everyone is expected to explain the different processes that occur along plate boundaries and name the landforms produced in each type of plate boundary. Are you now ready in our discussion? Okay, let's begin. You can answer these questions as we go on in our discussion and perform the activities in this module. Let's start from the first type of plate boundary, the convergent plate boundary. Where does this type of plate boundary take place? That's right! Convergence of plates may occur in between oceanic and continental plates, 2 oceanic plates, and 2 continental plates. We will discuss first the processes that occur along a convergent boundary between an oceanic and a continental plate. Open your module on page 8. Study Figure 1, showing convergence of oceanic and continental crust. Based on the figure, what happens to the leading edge of the oceanic crust as the 2 plates converge? Correct! The leading edge of the oceanic crust bends towards the mantle, and we call this as subduction. What is subduction? When we say subduction, that is the process by which a plate dives under a less dense plate. Subduction. A plate dives under a less dense plate. Why do you think oceanic plate subducts under the continental plate? Very good! Oceanic plate subducts because it is denser than the continental plate. I hope you can still remember because this was discussed in the previous module. At the mantle, the leading edge of the subducting plate melts or becomes fluid, and it turns into a hot, molten material called magma. Why do you think the subducted crust melt? That's right. The subducted crust melt because mantle is hotter than the crust. Due to the heat in the mantle, the magma builds up a pressure that enables it to push the ground above it.
Aha!
The column of rising magma is called a mantle plume. Addition of volatile material such as water will cause the magma to become less dense. That allows the magma to rise and reach the crust once again, and causing volcanic activities on the continental leading plate. When there is a volcanic activity, such as an eruption, the ground moves. That causes earthquake. Movement of the ground may cause disturbance in the ocean. The water may flip or kick upwards to a few meters high, and this is what we call tsunamis. For your information, tsunami is a Japanese term meaning harbor wave.
Tsunami! Harbor wave! Wow!
At the surface of the continental crust, along the boundary where the two crusts converged, a group of volcanoes called Volcanic Arc is formed as subduction continues. As the oceanic plate subducts, another geologic feature is formed in the ocean crust, and that is the trench. Ocean trenches are also called submarine valleys, and it is the deepest part of the ocean. Do you know what the deepest trench in the world is? Correct! It's the Mariana Trench, and this is located in the Western Pacific Ocean. In our country, one of the deepest is the Philippine Trench, with a depth of 10,540 meters.
Wow, it's amazing.
Are you still there, my dear learners?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you know already the processes that occur in the convergence of oceanic and continental plates and the landforms produced along the plate boundary. How about in the convergence of two oceanic plates? Please turn your module on page 9. Study figure 3, showing the convergence of two oceanic crusts. Based on the figure, what happens to the two oceanic plates as they converge? Yes, subduction also occurs, just like the first type of convergence, because the older oceanic plate is denser. The leading edge of the subducting plate becomes magma upon reaching the mantle. The molten material will rise to the surface, creating Volcanic Island Arc parallel to the trench. What is Volcanic Island Arc?
Volcanic Island Arc?
That's right! Volcanic Island Arc is a chain of volcanoes surrounded by water. This explains why our country has many volcanoes. Do you know that the different islands in our country is believed to have originated from convergence of two oceanic crusts? Majority of the islands in the Philippine archipelago are considered as part of the Philippine Mobile Belt. These islands were formed 65 million years ago at the southern edge of the Philippine Sea Plate and are considered as part of island arcs. Other parts of the Philippines, such as Palawan, Mindoro, and the Zamboanga Peninsula, are all highland sections of the sand island block of the Eurasian Plate. The Philippine Mobile Belt eventually collided with the Sandalan Block, which explains the presence of trenches, such as the Manila-Negros Cotabato Trench System and the Sulu Trench. Can you follow, my dear learners?
Yes, ma'am.
Those are the processes involved in the convergence of two oceanic plates. Now, let's proceed to the processes involved and landforms formed in the convergence of two continental crusts. In the convergence between oceanic and continental crust and in between two oceanic crusts, subduction occurs. Do you think this process will also occur in the convergence of two continental crusts? Precisely. There is no subduction happens because the two plates have the same densities. Aside from that, there would be no volcanoes formed and no tsunamis, since these occur in continental crust. What would be the result of this convergence? That's right! The convergence of two continental plates will result to a group of high landforms, which we call mountain ranges.
Mountain ranges. The convergence of two continental plates
Will result
to a group of high landforms.
Do you know that the Himalayas, where the Mount Everest is located, is a product of the collision between two large land masses, which is India and Eurasia?
How?
Since subduction is impossible between two colliding plates, pressure is released by pushing the crust upward. Convergence of two continental plates will also result to a collision zone which could cause shallow earthquakes. At that place, a crack is formed and we call that as fault. Is everything clear?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope so. Those are the processes involved and landforms formed in the converging of plates. My dear grade 10 learners, you can observe and visualize those processes and landforms formed along with convergence of plates as you perform the activities in your module. These are the activities regarding convergence that you will perform afterwards. Please turn your module on the pages where you can find the different activities about convergence. Page 5, that is Activity 1, Convergence between an oceanic plate and a continental plate. Page 6, that is Activity 2, Convergence between two oceanic plates. And on page 7, Activity 3, Convergence between two continental crusts. Can you follow, my dear learners? Very good. We shall have the next type of plate boundary after a few reminders.
Mga dalang panganib ng pagsabog ng bulkan. Nagbubuga ng mainit, mapanganib na gases, abo, kumukulong putik at naglalakiang bato ang isang bulkang sumasabog na lubhang nakapagdudulot ng malakiang pinsala sa tao at sa paligid dito. Marami na ang mga taong namamatay dahil dito. Karamihan sa mga namamatay dito ay yung tinatawag nating suffocation o ang di pagkakaroon ng mainam na paghinga o pagkapos ng hininga. Maaring makapagbigay ng labis na pinsala sa kalusugan ang pagsabog ng bulkan, gaya ng pagbaha, pagbulusok ng mga putik galing sa kabundukan, pagkawala ng kuryente, kawalan ng malinis na maiinom, pagkasunog sa kagubatan, at marami pang iba. Kaya mahalagang malaman natin kung ano ang dapat nating gawin kapag may ganitong uri ng sakuna sa ating lugar. Huwag agad magpanik. Alamin ang dapat gawin upang sakuna ay maiwasan. Ang bahaging ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CAGHAM, Doña Aurora National High School at ng himpilang ito. If you have any question or concern about the lesson for this hour, you may text your subject teacher using the numbers located at your learning package. You may also send them your questions through their messenger and their email found in your learning packages as well.
It's Science Time! You're listening to Teacher Rio.
We're back! Thank you, dear grade 10 learners, for still tuning in. Let us continue the discussion. Now, let's proceed to the processes and landforms along divergent plate boundary. Open your module on page 12. Study Figure 5 showing the divergence of plates. Based from the figure, how will you describe the movement of plates? That's right! The two plates separate from each other as indicated by the two arrows. The force of separation creates a tension zone. As these two plates move, shallow earthquake may happen. Based on the figure, where does divergence of plates usually take place? Precisely! Divergence of plates usually take place under bodies of water, but this can also occur on continental plates. If the divergence continues, what do you think will happen to the size of the space between the splitting crusts? Yes, the space of gap between them will be widened. But the plate divergence is a slow, continuous process. While this happens, materials from the mantle may rise, filling up the space. These materials will slowly cool and pile up near the tension zone, forming mountain-like structures called mid-oceanic ridges.
What are mid-oceanic ridges?
Oceanic ridges are mountain ranges underwater.
Mountain-like structures underwater. Oceanic ridges.
As the divergence continues, new materials from the mantle may push the old ones. The filled-up space between the plates becomes a new seafloor, and this process is called seafloor spreading.
Seafloor spreading. Wow!
What do you think may happen if there are two continents located on the plates that are diverging? Very good. These two continents are pulled apart. Example of these are Eurasia and North America. Do you know that these continents move away from each other at a rate of 5 centimeters per year?
Wow, it's amazing.
What do you think will happen to the Atlantic Ocean in between these two continents? That's right. The Atlantic Ocean is getting wider. How about if divergence develops within a continental plate? That's right. When continental plates move away from each other, a vertical space which may extend deep down into the lowest layer of the crust is formed. This leads to the formation of down-faulted valleys called Rift Valley. The Great East African Rift Valley is an example of this phenomenon. Those are the processes and landforms involved in divergent plate boundary. How about the third type, which is the transform fault boundary? Let's find the answer to that when we return.
What to do during earthquake? Taking the proper actions such as drop, cover, and hold on can save lives and reduce the risk of injury. Everyone, everywhere should learn and practice what to do during an earthquake, whether at home, work, school, or traveling. In most situations, you will reduce your chance of injury if you drop. Drop where you are onto your hand and knees. Cover your head and neck with one arm and hand. Hold on until the shaking stops. Drop, cover, and hold on as the best way in most situations to protect yourself during earthquake shaking. Tandaan, ligtas ang may alam. This friendly reminder is brought to you by Earthquake Country Alliance, Agham, Doña Aurora National High School, and this station.
It's Science Time! You're listening to Teacher Rio.
Welcome back! This time, we will discuss the processes and landforms along transform fault boundary. Open your module on page 14. Study Figure 6 showing transform fault boundary. Based on the figure, how do you describe the movement of the two plates relative from each other? That's right. The two plates slide past each other in opposite directions as indicated by the arrows. Due to this plate movement, what geologic event do you think may occur? Exactly. Since the two plates slide past from each other, it produces crack on the ground, called fault. The force the plates exert can break the rocks and other materials under the ground. The shaking usually ends abruptly. This is why it brings about strong earthquakes. That is the reason why this type of plate boundary is what everyone fears about these days. This type of plate boundary mostly occur within ocean basins. But there are a few that occur in continental crust. Can you give example of this? Correct! Example of this is the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault forms a continuous narrow break in the Earth's crust that extends from Northern California southward to Cajon Pass near San Bernardino. Can you still follow, dear learners? Now, can you differentiate the three types of plate boundaries in terms of the events or processes that take place along with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you name the landforms produced in each type of plate boundary?
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing! We're done with the lesson. I know that you are now ready to answer all the activities in your module. My dear learners, answer honestly all the activities. That's all for today. This is Teacher Rio Faye Magaway from Doña Aurora National High School. Always remember, ligtas ang may alam. Thank you and enjoy learning. Back to our host.
All right, and I am back. Thank you so much, Teacher Rio, our radio teacher for today. I hope everything is clear. If you have some questions, my dear learners, you may call or text 0916-478-0363. I repeat, 0916-478-0363. Or you may directly send your questions to your teacher's email at teresa.seneca001@deped.gov.ph. Also, I would like to acknowledge the teachers behind this School on the Air lesson. Teacher Rio Faye Magaway, your radio teacher. Teacher Teresa M. Seneca, the script writer. Teacher Riza N. Marzan, the technical specialist. Once again, thank you for being with us. This is your host, Teacher Rufino R. Pomeda Jr., now signing off. Stay tuned for the next subject.
Dance Radio, siniparalan sa radyo, atid namin makabago, paraan ang pagtuturo.
Wala nang makakapigil pa. Sulong Arangkada 106.3 Dance Radio sa Aurora, Isabela.
Edukasyo'y susulong, basta na magtulong-tulong, sulong edukalidad. Dance Radio, learning is amazing.
Hello! So inyong napakinggan ang ating RBI. So good afternoon, Ma'am Teresa. Good afternoon, Ma'am Riza.
Good afternoon, ma'am, at sa ating mga grade 10 students na nakaantabay sa ating Facebook Live.
Okay, so good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon to all viewers and listeners, especially to the grade 10 learners.
Okay, so Ma'am Riza.
Yes, ma'am. So today we have an interesting topic to be discussed by Ma'am Teresa and Ma'am Erlinda together with me. Yan. So ano nga ba yung topic natin for today, Ma'am Teresa?
Okay, so Ma'am Riza, so ang topic natin ngayon is all about processes and landforms along plate boundaries.
Yan. So, ano yung mga pwede nating i-expect after this discussion this afternoon, Ma'am Teresa?
Okay, so narito yung mga objective natin for today. So number 1, we will explain the different processes that occur along plate boundaries and name the landforms produced in each type of plate boundary.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So, but before we will discuss that, let us first recall kung ano yung na-discuss o napag-aralan ng mga learners natin last week. That is all about the different types of plate boundaries. So, what are again these different types of plate boundaries, Ma'am Teresa?
Okay, yes. So, if you can still remember, last week, na-discuss yung mga 3 types of plate boundaries, which are the divergent plate boundaries, transform plate boundary, and convergent plate boundaries.
Okay, so paano naman ba ang mga movements ng plates na yan paano yung mga movements nila ito, Ma'am Teresa? Paki-recall nga kung paano yung movements nila.
Yes, so i-recall natin. So tignan natin yung illustration showing the movement of the 3 types of plate boundary. Okay, so you have there the divergent plate boundary, convergent, and transform. Yung arrow dyan, it represents the direction of the movement of the plates. So, kung nakikita ninyo sa divergent plate boundary, the plates move away from each other. Okay, how about sa convergent? As you can see, the arrow moves towards each other. Then sa transform fault boundary, the plates slide past from each other. Okay, so yun yung movement ng plates in the different types of plate boundary. Okay, so I hope na natatandaan pa rin ninyo yan, my dear grade 10 learners.
Ayan. So, those are the different types of plate boundaries. So, today we will be concentrating on the processes that will occur or that occur along the plate boundaries and why these processes take place and landform produced in each type of plate boundaries. So, bakit nga ba? Bakit nga ba nakakabuo sila ng mga ng mga landforms? And ano nga ba yung mga nabubuo because of these 3 types of plate boundaries?
So we start from the first type of plate boundary, which is the convergent plate boundary.
Ayan. So, we have here the first, tignan natin ang illustration showing the convergent plate boundaries. How will you describe the movement of the 2 plates based on the illustration? So, sa mga estudyante natin dyan sa baba, ano nga bang napapansin ninyo from the illustration? Ayan, so medyo delay yata tayo, ma'am. So, these 2 plates move toward each other in what type of plate boundaries converge may occur. So, ano nga ba yung mga nangyayari during these convergent plate boundaries? So, first one, we have the Oceanic and Continental plates. The second one, we have here 2 Oceanic plates, and the third one, 2 Continental plates. Ayan, meron din pala tayong 3 uri ng convergent sa plates natin, Ma'am Linda.
Yes, Ma'am Risa. So, ano kaya ang pwede mangyari sa convergence of Oceanic and Continental plates, Ma'am Teresa?
Okay, yes, Ma'am Linda. Okay, so tignan natin yung illustration. So, unahin natin sa Oceanic and Continental Plates. Convergence in between Oceanic and Continental Plates. Okay, so tignan nga natin yung illustration, Ma'am Riza. Okay, so yan. So, the illustration shows the convergence between Oceanic and Continental Plates. So, as you can see in the illustration, what do you think are the processes that may occur in the convergence between Oceanic and Continental Plates? So, tignan ninyo mga learners, yung nasa left side, that is the Oceanic crust, and yung nasa right side, that is the Continental crust. Okay, so anong napapansin ninyo dun sa Oceanic crust? Okay, kung makikita ninyo, my dear learners, the Oceanic crust bends towards the mantle, di ba? Okay, so bakit kaya? So why is it that the Oceanic crust bends towards the mantle? And anong tawag natin dun sa process na yon? Okay, so ang tawag natin dyan is subduction, my dear learners. Okay, so that is the process by which a plate dives under a less dense plate. Okay, so balikan ko yung tanong ko kanina, bakit yung Oceanic crust magkakaroon ng subduction or it will bend towards the mantle? Anong rason? Okay, so if you can still remember at narinig ninyo sa RBI kanina na ang continental crust denser compared to the Oceanic crust is denser than the continental crust, di ba? Okay, so yun yung rason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng subduction. At yung Oceanic crust bends towards the mantle. And when this, when the leading edge of the Oceanic crust reach the mantle, so ano mangyayari? The leading edge will melt. Bakit siya mamemelt? Kasi higher yung temperature in the mantle compared to the temperature in the crust. Okay, then yung molten material na yon magiging, ang tawag natin doon is magma. Okay, so can you still remember that, my dear learners, yung magma? Na-discuss na rin yan when you were in grade 8. Okay, so the subducted crust melt because mantle is hotter than the crust. And due to the heat in the mantle, the magma builds up a pressure that enables it to push the ground above it. And aside from that, yung magma na yon, magkakaroon pa ng addition of volatile material. And that will cause the magma to become less dense. So magiging less dense siya. That allows the magma to rise and reach the crust once again. And maaring mag-cause yan ng volcanic activities such as yung volcanic eruption. So, isa pa aside from subduction, isa pang process or geologic event na pwedeng mangyari sa convergence of continental and oceanic crust is volcanic eruptions. And when there is volcanic eruption, ang mangyayari, magkakaroon ng shaking of the ground. And that will cause an earthquake. Okay, so yan. So yan yung mga pwedeng mangyari, mga processes or geologic event na pwedeng mangyari in the convergence of oceanic and continental crust. And aside from that, Ma'am Linda, pag nagkaroon ng earthquake, pwede ding magkaroon ng tsunami, di ba ma'am?
Yes, Ma'am Teresa, pwedeng magkaroon, pwedeng hindi magkaroon ng tsunami. Depende kung nasan yung epicenter ng earthquake, Ma'am Teresa. So, if the epicenter ay nandun sa seafloor, so maaaring magkaroon ng tsunami or hindi pa rin. Kasi, nung grade 8 kayo, my dear learners, I-discuss natin on that not every fault movement beneath the sea will produce a tsunami. So those faults that move in a horizontal direction or sideways will not result in a tsunami. Okay. So yun ang mga fault that move in the vertical. No? The vertical line. So in that activity, sudden upward push that trigger the wing. So, pero sa ano nga yung tinuro ko nga yan, no? Sabi ano mangyayari after an earthquake? Magkakaroon ng tsunami, sabi ng mga estudyante ko. Depende. Siyempre, sa movement. Hindi ba? Okay, so Mantere. So those are the practices of the how about platforms or geologic features are formed in the convergence of oceanic and continental boundaries?
Okay, so yan. So, alam na ninyo, my dear learners, kung ano yung mga processes and mga geologic event or phenomena na pwedeng mangyari in the convergence of oceanic and continental plates. So, ulitin lang natin, so maaaring magkaroon ng subduction, volcanic eruptions, earthquake, and tsunamis. Ngayon naman, tignan naman natin yung mga landforms or mga geologic features na pwedeng ma-form in the convergence of oceanic and continental plates or boundaries. Okay, so ano kaya yung mga pwedeng ma-form? Okay, so as subduction continues, a volcanic arc may form. Okay, so ano itong volcanic arc na yan? Okay, so pag sinabi nating volcanic arc, my dear learners, yan yung group of volcanoes. Okay, so at the surface of the continental crust along the boundary where the two crusts converge, a group of volcanoes called yung volcanic arc is formed. Okay, so ano naman yung mga examples ng mga volcanoes that is formed in the convergence of oceanic and continental crust? Okay, so tignan natin. Ayan, so isa sa mga volcanoes na na-form through the convergence of oceanic and continental crust is the Andes volcanoes. Okay, so which is situated. So tignan muna natin, Ma'am Riza, kung saan makikita yung Andes volcano na yan. Okay, so that is situated on the western margin of South America. And remember na ang Andes volcano na yan, that is the result of the subduction of the Nazca Plate beneath the South American Plate. Okay, so yan. Ayan yung Andes volcanoes. Nakikita ninyo, my dear learners? Okay, so yan yung resulta ng pagkakaroon ng convergence o pagkakaroon ng subduction ng Nazca Plate dun sa South American Plate. Okay, so another volcano na na-form to the convergence of oceanic and continental plate, we have the Cascade Volcanos. Yan. So, yung Cascade Volcanos, that is along the Washington, Oregon coast of North America. And that is the result of the subduction under the North American plate of the small Juan de Fuca and Cocos plates, which are on the east side of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so tignan natin. Wow, ang ganda. So, ayan yung itsura ng Cascade Volcanoes. O makikita na ninyo yung Cascade Volcano na kung saan nasa North America. Okay. Next, another volcano na na-form dahil sa convergence of oceanic and continental plate. So we have the Mount St. Helens. Okay, so that is an example of a volcano formed by an oceanic plate that is subducting under the North American continental plate. Okay, so meron ba tayong illustration ay picture ng Mount wow, ang ganda. So yan yung Mount St. Helens. Okay, so my dear grade 10 learners, so ilan lamang yan sa mga examples ng mga volcanoes that was formed through the convergence of the oceanic and continental plates. Okay, so aside from volcanoes, Ma'am Linda, what other geologic features that may occur in the convergence of oceanic and continental plates?
Okay, so yes, Ma'am Teresa. So aside from those, so as the oceanic plates subducts, another geological feature is formed in the ocean crust, and that is the trends. Trends, hindi si Sir Trends, hindi si Ma'am Sir Trends, Ma'am Teresa. It is the trends. Okay, ocean trends are also called submarine valleys, and it is the deepest part of the ocean, yung pinakamalalim na parte. And my dear learners, do you know what's the deepest trends in the world? So kung nakinig kayo mabuti kanina sa RBI, masasagot niyo ito. Alam niyo. So please comment down in your chat box. What do you know? So what is the deepest trends in the world? Paki-comment nga, pakilagay din ang inyong pangalan in your section para ma-monitor kayo ng inyong mga science teacher. So ulitin ko, what's the deepest trends in the world? Okay, pakitignan nyo nga, Ma'am Riza, Ma'am Teresa, meron na bang nagko-comment?
Yan, Ma'am Erlinda, medyo delayed sila sa pagko-comment kasi nasa Facebook tayo. And example of that, ito po yung picture ngayon ng deepest trends in the world, ma'am. Yan, napakaganda ng trenches pala natin.
Yes. Ayan. So, what is the deepest trends in the world? So, kung nakinig kayo sa RBI kanina, mga anak, it is the Marianas Trench. So, yan yun. Nakikita ninyo dyan sa illustration natin. And that is located in the Western Pacific Ocean. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Madami na nagko-comment sa baba. Si May Salvador, si Daryl.
So, ibig sabihin lang, Ma'am Risa, nakinig talaga sila kanina. Diba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, let's continue our discussion on convergence between two oceanic plates. And it's your turn, Ma'am Riza.
Yes, pagkatapos nga po ng ating first na convergent, which is the between oceanic and continental plates, ay naman, let's have the two oceanic plates. Ayan. Convergence between two oceanic plates. Ano naman kaya ang meron dito sa two oceanic plates? So, when a convergent boundary between two oceanic plates, ayan, so makikita natin sa illustration, dalawang oceanic plates ang nagkakasalubong dyan. So, it means yung isa, yung older plate will subduct. Pag sinabi nating subduct mga bata, mga bata, mga dalagat, mga binata na pala sila, di na pala sila mga bata, ma'am. Papailalim sila or magbe-bend yung isa pa ilalim, yung older natin. Then kasi yung beneath the younger plates because of its high density. So the leading edge of the subducting plates become magma upon reaching the mantle. So yung sabi nga kanina ni Ma'am Teresa, yung magsasubduct, yung papailalim, yun ay magiging magma kasi nga mas mainit ang temperature ng mantle natin kaysa sa crust natin. So yung mga rocks na to, yung mga materials na to, mamamolten siya and it will become magma. Then the magma upon the leading edge of the subducting plates become magma upon reaching the mantle. Then the molten material will rise to the surface, creating the volcanic island arc parallel to the trenches. Ayan. So, ito yung dito sa illustration natin, ma'am. Ayan po. Kapag kayong mga molten materials, umangat na siya sa ating mga sa surface, magiging volcanic island arc siya at saka parallel siya sa ating mga trenches. So, kung nagkaroon tayo ng two oceanic plates, convergence of the two oceanic plates, ano naman yung epekto nito? So, the effects that are found at this type of plate boundaries include a zone of progressively deeper earthquake. So, mas malalim ngayon yung zone ng earthquake, which is nabasa ko kanina na kapag mas malalim pala yung zone na or deeper pala yung earthquake is mas less ang kanyang epekto dito sa lupa natin. And we have the destruction of lithospheres. Yun nga, pagkasira ng ating lithosphere kasi yun yung isa yung nagsasabdak yung isang plate. So, kapag ka nagkaroon ng, nakita na natin yung epekto, pero ano nga ba yung nabubuo during this plate boundaries? So, una dyan, yung ocean trench natin and the volcanic island arc na sabi natin kanina. So, pag sinabi natin volcanic island arc, is a chain of volcanoes surrounded by the water. Para ba ito yung sa Tagaytay, ma'am, na may mga volcano sila doon. So, sa Tagaytay, sa Batangas pala. So, hindi lang iisa ang may volcano doon, pero iisa din ang active po doon. So, this island formed through these plate boundaries. Ayan, the volcanic island arc and the trenches natin. So, island formed through this type of plate boundaries is the Mariana Island, which are located, sabi nga kanina ni Ma'am Teresa, along the Marianas Trench. In Japan, we have the Aleutian Island, the East Caribbean Island of Martinique. Ayan. So, isa din dyan, isa din sa mga pinapaniwalaan nila na produkto nga ng two oceanic plates is the Philippine. Ayun. So the majority of the island in the Philippine archipelago are considered as the part of the Philippine mobile belt. So these islands were formed 65 million years ago. So makikita natin yung kanilang epekto or yung kanilang mga ano yung mga nangyayari during these boundaries. Million years, hindi siya abrupt na nakikita, pero at the long run. So, at the south edge of the Philippine Sea Plate and are considered as part of the island arc. So, other parts of the Philippines, such as Palawan, the Mindoro, and the Zamboanga Peninsula, are the highland section of the Sandalan Block of the Eurasian Plate. So, Philippine Mobile Belt eventually collided with the Sandalan Block, which explain the presence of the trenches such as the Manila, Negros, Cotabato trenches system and the Sulu Trench. So dito pa lang sa Pilipinas natin, madami na palang ang produkto ngayon ng convergence ng two oceanic plates. Yan. So punta naman tayo sa pangatlo, ma'am. Ano ulit yung pangatlo nating convergence plate boundaries? Ma'am Teresa?
Okay, so yan. So those are the processes and landforms that form in the convergence of two oceanic plates. Ngayon naman, punta tayo sa convergence of two continental plates. Okay, so tignan natin yung illustration. So ano kayang mangyayari in the convergence between two continental plates? Okay, so dun sa nauna kanina, nagkakaroon ng subduction, di ba? Dun sa convergence of oceanic and continental plates and two oceanic plates. Okay, so how about here? In the convergence between two continental plates, what do you think? Magkakaroon din ba ng subduction? Okay, so nabanggit kanina sa RBI na walang subduction na mangyayari, di ba? Okay, so anong mangyayari? So magkakaroon ng powerful collision. Okay, so the two thick continental plates collide. And since ang density ng continental plate is lower than the mantle, yun yung rason kung bakit walang subduction na mangyayari. So ano mangyayari? Kumbaga, tignan natin yung illustration. Instead na pababa yung isa, pataas silang dalawa, di ba? Okay. So, based on that, what are the processes that may occur in between the two continental plates? Okay, so isa dyan na mangyayari, magkakaroon ng intense folding and faulting. Magkakaroon ng shallow earthquake and shortening and thickening of the plates within the collision zone. Okay, so yan yung mga pwedeng mangyari in the convergence of two continental plates. Ngayon, ano naman ang landforms na ma-form in this convergence of two plates? Okay, so since walang mangyaring subduction, papataas yung dalawang plates, continental plates. So, ang mangyayari, magkakaroon ng mountain range. Yan. Okay, so ano ba yung mga halimbawa ng mga mountains na na-form in the convergence of two continental plates? Okay, so isa dyan ang Himalayan mountain range. Okay. Yung Himalayan mountain range na yan, I think very familiar na sa inyo yan. Kasi that is considered as the highest mountains on Earth today, di ba? Okay, so the Himalayan mountain range together with the Tibetan Plateau formed through the collision in between anong plate? We have the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. Which began, nagsimula pa yan, yung collision na yan, 50 million years ago. And still, patuloy pa rin yung collision na yan in between Indian plate and Eurasian plate. Kaya, ang nangyayari, the Himalayas are still rising. So patuloy yung pagtaas ng Himalayan mountain range na yan by more than 1 centimeter per year. So gradual lang mga my dear learners yung changes. Kaya hindi natin namamalayan. Okay, so still rising kasi patuloy pa rin yung collision in between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. Okay, so yan. So nakikita ninyo dyan sa picture, yung example ng, yung picture ng Himalayan mountain range. And do you know that the highest point on the Earth is found in that Himalayan mountain range. And ano yung highest point na yan? Okay, so I think very common sa inyo yan, the Mount Everest. Okay, so yan. Ayan yung picture ng Mount Everest. The summit of Mount Everest is made of marine limestone. Okay. So aside from the Himalayan mountain range, we have also the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, so the Appalachian Mountain is formed as a result of collision between two continental plates. Okay, so that is formed during a collision of continents 500 to 300 million years ago. And this was formed when the North American plate collided with Gondwana. So yung Gondwana na yan, that is a supercontinental plate that included South America and Africa at one time. So yung Appalachian Mountains, it extends from the maritime provinces of Canada all the way to northern Georgia and Alabama. Okay, so ayan. And aside from that, we have also the Brooks Range. Okay, so ang Brooks Range, that is the result of collision also in between two continental plates. And that Brook Range stretching across northern Alaska. Okay, so yan Ma'am Riza, yung mga mountains na na-form in the collision between two continental plates. So nakikita natin dyan sa picture yung picture ng Brooks Range. Ang gaganda, di ba?
Ayan, yes, Ma'am.
Opo. Oh, Ma'am Teresa, ang gaganda, ano? Pero lahat yan sa ibang bansa, ano?
Opo.
Diyan sa Alaska, diyan sa South America, Africa. Ang gaganda ng mga mountains nila dyan. Okay. So this time, so let's continue. And the next topic is all about divergent plate boundaries. So what is all about these divergent plate boundaries, Ma'am Risa?
So kung kanina ma'am, dun sa ating convergent, lahat nagkakasalubong. Dito naman, ayun, nagkakahiwalay. So ito yung mga ayaw ng ating mga, yes, nagda-diverge sila. Ito yung ayaw ng ating mga lovers natin, ng mga estudyante, yung pagkakahiwalay, ayan, long distance, ayan. So divergent plate boundaries occurs where plates are spreading apart. So this spreading is caused by the convective force in the molten magma below them. Ito yung topic natin during the grade 8, Ma'am Erlinda, na yung convection sa ating mantle. Kaya nagkakaroon ng paggalaw din ng or pag-spread apart ng ating mga plates. So, the processes or the geologic events that may occur in these divergent plate boundaries, number one nga dyan, dahil nga sa may paggalaw ang ating mga plates. Number one is the earthquake and the volcanic action. So, it means alam natin, sabi nga natin kanina, may pagtaas ng mga molten magma. As they slowly spread apart, this fluid basalt lava fills the gap and quickly solidifies, forming new oceanic crust. So when this occurs with continental plates, pag sa continental plates naman, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na reef valley, such as the East African Reef. This particular reef zone is called a triple junction because it's represent the divergence of three plates forming a Y shape. So the plates involved are the Arabian, ayan, the Arabian Plate and the two African plates, and the Nubian and the Somalian. So the depressions in the rift valleys slowly fill with water forming lakes. Yan. So ito na po yun yung sinasabi nilang nagwa-Y shape siya. So when this occurs with the oceanic plates, a ridge is formed on the seafloor such as the mid-Atlantic ridges. So the Iceland actually sits atop the mid-Atlantic ridge. Eventually, the island will split into two separate land masses. Pwede parang mag-separate yung dalawang land masses during the divergent plate boundaries, Ma'am Erlinda. Ayan.
Okay. So, ayan. So, learners, sana na papanood ninyo at nang sa ganon, maintindihan ninyo yung ating topic. Kasi medyo may kahirapan din ito. So, lalo na ngayon, pandemic, pag binabasa lang nila ito, Ma'am Risa, medyo hirap sila. At least ngayon, may mga nakikita nila, nakakatulong ito na maintindihan nila ang lesson. Hindi ba? Okay. So, those are the processes or the geologic events that may occur in divergent plate boundaries. So this time, how about transform fault boundaries? Ano naman ba itong tinatawag na transform fault boundaries, Ma'am Teresa?
Yes, Ma'am Linda. So ito na yung last type of plate boundary, the transform plate boundaries, wherein it occurs where plates are sliding past one another. Okay, so nakikita ninyo dyan sa illustration. Okay, so these transform boundaries is also called as conservative boundaries. Bakit tinawag na conservative boundaries? Because grass is neither destroyed nor created along them. Okay, so kung sa divergent plate boundary, pwedeng mangyari yan sa continental and oceanic grass. How about sa transform boundaries? Okay, so parehas din na ang transform boundaries pwedeng mangyari sa oceanic grass and continental grass. Pero most common ito sa oceanic or on the seafloor. Okay. So pag nangyari yan sa seafloor, so ano yung pwedeng ma-form? So pwedeng magkaroon ng oceanic fracture zones. Pag sa land naman, magkakaroon ngayon ng fault. Okay. So pag anong geologic event ang pwedeng mangyari dito sa transform boundaries? Since the two plates slide past from each other, so magkakaroon ng strong earthquake. Na kung saan, syempre, nakakatakot yan. Okay, so may sa mga plate boundaries na yan, nakita natin yung magandang may dudulot at yung mga disadvantage din, di ba? So pag sinabi nating earthquake, talagang nakakatakot yan. Okay. So, ano yung mga examples ng fault? So, very common sa atin yan, yung San Andreas Fault. Diba? Ma'am Linda?
Yes. Yung San Andreas. Napanood ko yan eh. Di ba may pelikula yan?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ma'am Erlinda.
Napanood ko yan.
Very devastating, nakakatakot yung nangyari doon na kung ganun talagang kalakas, ano? Kung ilang magnitude yun.
Oo nga, ma'am. So, makikita nila, Ma'am Teresa, sa illustration, for example, itong line na to, tsaka yung line na yan, bago pa nagkaroon ng transform boundaries, magkadugtong po yan. Pero dahil nga nagkaroon ng sliding past each other, so makikita nila yung difference ng paggalaw nung lupa.
Yes.
Okay, so yung nasa right side, that is a view of the San Andreas transform fault. Yan. Okay, so yun. So those are the different types of plate boundaries. Ma'am Lynn?
Okay, so yan kung nakinig mabuti ang ating mga learners, so you have there, my dear grade 10 learners. So we hope from this live discussion about the processes and landforms, along plate boundaries, answer your queries, answer your questions on how and why several features of the Earth continuously change. Di ba? Ayan. So dahil dyan sa mga paggalaw ng mga plates, mga yan, nagkaroon tayo ng mga mountains, nagkaroon tayo ng volcanoes, hindi ba? Na kung saan nakadagdag ito sa ating mga anong tawag dito, mga tourist spot, di ba, Ma'am Risa?
Yes, ma'am. Tulad na nga lang nung lagi nating last ko napuntahan bago nag-pandemic sa Batangas, yung overlook sa may Tagaytay, yung volcanoes doon. Isa yun sa mga produkto ng ating plate boundaries, which is nakakadagdag siya sa mga tourist spot natin. At saka wag nating isipin na those natural phenomena naman ito, Ma'am Erlinda, na hindi talaga natin maiwasan yung pagkaroon ng earthquake, volcanic eruption, kasi nga we're living sa... Yes, ma'am. These are the natural phenomena na hindi talaga natin maiwasan. Pero, ang pwede na lang natin gawin siguro, Ma'am Erlinda, is paghandaan kung ano man yung mga dulot nila. Kaya nga tayo nagkakaroon ng survival kit, yung mga ganun na pinapadala natin noon sa mga bata. Tsaka chine-check natin kung may mga survival kits sila.
Saka another, Ma'am Risa, sa mga mountains, maswerte tayo. We have the Sierra Madre Mountains, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. Yan yung isa sa mga nagliligtas sa mga taga Isabela, taga Cagayan Valley, ma'am, kapag may parating na bagyo. Kasi nabre-breakdown dyan yung typhoon bago pa pumasok dito sa valley. Naalala ko pa, ma'am, nung ang lalakas ng bagyo sa Palanan, pero dito daw sa may valley, dito sa mainland ng Isabela, mahina daw. Yun pala, nabasag na ng Sierra Madre yung mga mountain ranges natin dyan.
Kaya sana, Ma'am Risa, yung ating Sierra Madre Mountains, huwag makalbo, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope grade 10 learners, marami kayong natutunan ngayon. So, para hindi nila makalimutan, Ma'am Teresa, kindly summarize what we had this afternoon.
Okay, so to summarize what we have discussed, okay, so my dear learners, so natalakay natin yung mga different types of plate boundaries, which are the convergent plate boundaries, transform plate boundaries, and divergent plate boundaries. And we have discussed also the processes and landforms along these plate boundaries. Okay, so inaasahan namin mga grade 10 learners na marami kayong natutunan sa talakayan na ito.
That's all. And thank you very much to all our viewers. Thank you very much. To our technical assistant, thank you very much. Sir Jassel, Ma'am Risa, thank you. And also Ma'am Teresa. And sa lahat, to all science teachers, thank you very much.
Yes. Enjoy learning, mga bata. Pwede na tayong sumagot sa ating mga modules. Mas madadalian na tayo ngayon.
Ako pala, Ma'am Risa, bukas, learners, distributions of your self-learning materials. Kindly, tignan ninyo yung inyong mga GC, may mga information door or announcement ang inyong mga advisors. Kung paano nyo makukuha ang inyong mga learning kits tomorrow. Okay?
Yes.
So that's all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Physics, Chemistry, Earth Science, biology, biochemistry, environmental science. These are some branches of science. Science is about a whole lot more than that. And to sum it up, we believe that science is the way of helping the brain grow in finding new knowledge and help us defeat our curiosity and how the world develops and works today. Science. This is your class, and this is science. And now, here is your host for the day. Ito ang 106.3 Dance Radio. Dance Radio.
Prepare yourself.
Ang silid-aralan sa radyo, hatid namin ay makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo at kalaman. Mapaumaga, tanghali o hapon man yan, ang istasyong magbibigay impormasyon kahit saan man.
For something big. Alright, here we go.
106.3 Dance Radio. Doña Aurora National High School, Santa Rita, Aurora, Isabela.
This
106.3 DWDR FM.
Nais mong matuto, buksan mo ang iyong radyo. Lahat kami ay narito, tapat sa aming serbisyo. Walang problemang di malalampasan. Magliliwanag ang ating kinabukasan. Dance Radio, silid-aralan sa radyo. Hatid namin makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo. Kahit saan at kahit kailan, hindi ka iiwanan. Hatid namin bagong kaalaman. Edukasyo'y susulong, basta't magtulong-tulong. Sulong edukalidad, Dance Radio. Learning is the